pretty unstoppable.
Bear, we started off with a bang and we ended with a bang. This is just beyond my wildest imagination. Just so grateful for allowing me to come along for the ride of having this experience and also just being a friend. Not only did I have an adventure of a lifetime, but I feel like I gained a new friend today, so.
48 hours, 0 sleep, 1 winner. The Fear Factor 2-week event continues Thursday on Fox.
Now, your primetime local news leader. Fox 22 News at 10.
Today, officials from multiple state agencies offered a robust update on the investigation into the fire and explosion at Robbins Lumber Mill on Friday. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones. Our Alex Schley was in Searsmont for that briefing earlier today.
Officials have made it clear that this is still an open and ongoing investigation. Agents from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives have been called in to assist with the investigation. And as of today, at least 150 people have already been interviewed. Over the course of the 48-hour period since fire officials came on scene, 299 first responders from 46 departments across Maine responded to Searsmont.
Monday, we brought in heavy equipment on the scene to assist investigators in moving the large metal pieces and the structural debris in the area where we needed to work. Investigators also utilized drones and mapping technology to document the locations of all the firefighting equipment that was left at the scene and damaged or destroyed.
Investigators say on Wednesday, several large cranes will be brought in to help address the remains of the silo.
Try to figure out what's left and what we can gain from the debris underneath. And the investigators will continue processing the scene carefully, methodically, and safely.
State fire marshal officials say they hope to complete the on-scene portion of the investigation within the next few days. From there, however, officials say they're still unable to provide a timeline for when they'll be able to officially say what caused the catastrophic fire and explosion. Maine State Fire Marshal Sean Essler says he has met with fire chiefs from the responding departments, and they wanted him to pass along their gratitude for the public's overwhelming support.
They want the public to know how deeply appreciative they are for the support they have received. One chief told me that the volume of hugs he has received has increased significantly in the last several days, and honestly, that says a lot about this area and its people.
In conjunction with the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation, the local assistance state team is working to secure state and federal death benefits for firefighter Cross and his family.
We also learned that it took several hours before firefighter Cross could be recovered from the scene following the explosion. As of tonight, 8 people remain hospitalized, including several members of the family that own Robbins Lumber. According to the fire marshal's office, multiple departments sustained damage to their fire trucks and equipment during the Searsmont incident. Our Grace Blanchard has more on how this is impacting departments that are already limited on resources.
Seeing the plume of black smoke, it puts a lump in your throat.
In the aftermath of the Searsmont fire, the Belmont Fire Department is supporting injured firefighter Catherine Page and navigating the loss of a critical tank truck.
Everything in rural Maine volunteer department, everything matters.
Searsmont, Appleton, and Belmont all sustained damage to their fire apparatus, impacting area emergency coverage.
Searsmont's going to be hugely affected because they've lost 2 of their immediate mutual aid towns' trucks, plus their attack trucks.
On top of that, Chief Harford says the department lost between $50,000 to $60,000 worth of equipment that was on the truck.
All the equipment on them, that's thousands of dollars of replacement, and just some of the things are just irreplaceable.
They are exploring grant opportunities, but according to Chief Harford,
there's so many fire departments that are in need across the United States. They're just few and far between.
He says the area departments plan to lean on one another and share resources, but he says the truck is not their biggest loss.
Mr. Cross is our biggest thing we lost. I knew him personally. He was a tremendous firefighter, a tremendous person.
His message to others is simple.
If I can say anything away from the fire service, away from everything, is, come together as a community.
In Belmont, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
There are multiple upcoming memorial events we want to tell you about. First, at the Cross Insurance Center in Bangor on Thursday, there will be a celebration of the life and legacy of Maine Game Warden pilot Joshua Tibbetts, who was killed in the line of duty in a plane crash last week. The service begins at 1 p.m. Guests should arrive and plan to be seated by noon. Also on Thursday, a fire department visitation will be held at Riposta Funeral Home in Belfast to honor Morrill firefighter Andrew Cross. The hours are from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Parking will be located at Troy Howard Middle School, and shuttle buses will run to and from the funeral home. On Friday, a private funeral for family, close friends, and invited departments will be held at Veracity Chapel in Morrill. Governor Mills has directed U.S. and state of Maine flags to be lowered statewide from sunrise to sunset on Friday, May 22nd, in honor of firefighter Cross. Well, Governor Mills has also ordered all U.S. and state of Maine flags be lowered from sunrise to sunset this Thursday in remembrance of Game Warden Tibbetts and the Honorable Gerald Talbot. Talbot was Maine's first black legislator and the founding president of the Maine NAACP. He will be honored at Merrill Auditorium in Portland at 10 a.m. on Thursday. In a statement, Governor Mills said, quote, Gerald Talbot made history as Maine's first black legislator and helped open the door for generations of Maine people. Warden Joshua Tibbetts devoted his career to protecting the people, wildlife, and natural resources of our state. I urge all Maine people to join me in honoring their service and their lasting contributions to our state. In other news tonight, Bangor police are investigating an alleged shooting incident that injured a dog. Details are few at this time, but Bangor police say officers responded to a call of shots being fired in the vicinity of March Street today around 8:48 a.m. They say officers arrived and determined shots had been fired, injuring a dog. That animal has been transported to a local veterinary hospital where it's being treated and is expected to live. The incident remains under investigation. Bangor police say no other details are available right now. And Bangor police are searching for a man who has been missing since February. They're trying to find 39-year-old Whitney Bryant, who was last seen on February 24th. He is described as a white male who is 5 feet 6 inches tall, or 5 feet 6 inches tall, and weighs 190 pounds. He has blue eyes and brown hair. Anyone with information is urged to contact Bangor Police at 947-7382. Well, Hannaford says a labeling error has triggered a recall of certain rolls from all of their stores. Hannaford says the impacted products are the 8-pack of Nature's Promise ciabatta rolls and the 8-pack of Nature's Promise cheddar ciabatta rolls. The impacted products were purchased between May 10th and May 18th and may be missing an egg allergen warning on the label. If you purchase these products and you have an egg allergy, Hannaford says do not eat them. Simply bring your receipt to a nearby store for a full refund. And we'll have customer contact information on our website, foxbangor.com. And let's pause now for our first look at our forecast.
Thank you very much. Some extreme heats made its way into Bangor for today and all of Maine. For most of us, it was southern and central Maine. You did stay a bit cooler up north, but when we say cooler, right at 70 degrees for you in Presque Isle, 79 in Clayton Lake. Now, 89 degrees here in Bangor. We tied our record high, which was last set in 1962. We're looking to break records for lows tonight and break some more records for highs tomorrow. As you can see down to the southwest, low to mid 90s. Portland at 92, Sanford at 95 degrees for today. So for tonight, a few sprinkles are possible after some thunderstorms for today, but we'll have another line of showers and storms tomorrow. It's not looking to be as strong as the ones today. Just some isolated pop-up showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder. Nothing severe with this, but it is going to get hot again tomorrow. So hopefully you do have one of these, make their way by, because it will help cool you off with the extreme heat in place again for tomorrow. But for tonight, our record low is 46 degrees, last set in 1968. We are going to shatter that tonight with lows hanging out in the low to mid 60s.
Thank you, Chase. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, we'll have more of your local news.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Think you know Robert Charles? Think again. While President Trump was crushing the woke left, DC insider Bob Charles was cashing in, making millions holding lucrative contracts with the woke DEI Never Trump Obama administration. Bob Charles, looking the other way, abandoning the MAGA movement, working for liberal DEI-loving Democrats, failing President Trump. Anything for a buck chuck can't be trusted. Trump traitor Robert Charles, woke, radical, wrong. Just too liberal for Maine.
Welcome to outdoor living. Welcome to Granville Stone and Hearth. Goodness knows we've been cooped up long enough. Make plans now to enjoy the outside of your home, too. Come to Granville and see, touch, and imagine what you can do in your backyard. Light a path, light a fire, grill a meal, sit a bit. It's all in stock. There's a staycation right outside your door with expert help from Granville, one of the largest outdoor living suppliers in Maine. Granville Stone and Hearth, Main Road, Holden.
When the morning light hits Maine, start your day with a good morning, Maine. Craig Colson, Janessa Bishop, by your side, bringing the stories that matter statewide. Local news and the forecast ahead. Wake up informed, ready to go on ABC 7 and Fox 22.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Welcome back. Republican candidate for Maine governor and founder of Athena Health, Jonathan Bush, was campaigning in Waldo County today. Bush received a tour of Matthews Brothers in Belfast. The company is the oldest window manufacturer in the nation. Bush is proposing what he calls the Belfast Playbook, a model he says has brought jobs and reduced the cost of living in the Mid-Coast. If elected governor, he says he wants to cut taxes and simplify regulations to help promote growth for businesses like Matthews Brothers and others across the state.
We want to be the small business capital of the world, but these medium businesses and large businesses represent the first jolt of economic energy if we allow this state's economy to wake up.
Bush argues the state's overall business climate and economic outlook is poor compared to other states. He said his first act as governor will be to declare an economic growth emergency. Meanwhile, Democratic gubernatorial candidate Hannah Pingree has picked up an endorsement from someone who is familiar with the job she is seeking. Current Governor Janet Mills endorsed Pingree today, saying Pingree is the best prepared candidate to lead the state through the challenges ahead. In a statement, Mills said, quote, "I have known Hannah for many years, and I can say without a doubt that she is a leader of courage, integrity, strength, compassion, and action, someone who is unafraid to fight for what is right and who will deliver for Maine people day after day," end quote. Well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, we'll be taking a look at your national headlines. Stay tuned.
Sprague's Nursery and Garden Center is your destination for all things green, and yellow, and pink, and red, and, well, you'll understand when you visit us. Plants aren't just another department here. They're our whole world. From gardening classes to our expansive greenhouses, we cultivate a community of budding and seasoned gardeners alike. Professional landscapers turn to us too. Shouldn't you? Sprague's Nursery and Garden Center, growing with you since 1947.
For the best selection in classic and contemporary furnishings, stop by Richard Parks Furniture on High Street in Ellsworth. Handcrafted New England-made bedrooms and dining rooms, imported Scandinavian recliners and upholstery, more than 40 lines of furniture for the home and patio. Richard Parks Furniture is your #1 stop for quality, functionality, and well-designed furniture at affordable prices. Richard Parks Furniture.
Discover Richard Parks.
132 High Street in Ellsworth.
Discover Richard. For 20 years, Graham Plattner has shared his hateful and bigoted beliefs online. Police officers who keep us safe, Plattner says they're all bastards. Black people, Plattner insults them and says they don't tip. And if you dare disagree with Graham Plattner, he calls you retarded and a fag. 20 years of nonstop bigotry and hate from Graham Plattner. Read it yourself at bigotedplattner.com. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
U.S. health authorities are working to get out ahead of an Ebola outbreak in Africa, implementing travel restrictions and setting up new clinics to be prepared for anything. Fox's Kevin Cork reports.
U.S. officials putting up their guard against a growing Ebola outbreak. The administration fast-tracking up to 50 response clinics that can screen for the virus and, if needed, provide triage and isolation.
We're coordinating directly with state, local, tribal, and territorial health departments to ensure immediate patient isolation, specimen collection, and testing if Ebola is suspected.
The rush to get ahead of a wider epidemic comes as the World Health Organization reports hundreds of suspected cases in Africa. The CDC on Monday invoked Title 42 to block entry into the U.S. from 3 affected countries. A province in the Congo is believed to be the hotspot.
It's a little tough to get to it because it's in a rural area, so it's kind of confined in a hard-to-get-to place in a war-torn country, unfortunately.
This particular strain is concerning to doctors because it's largely unknown.
This is Bundibugyo Ebola virus. So this is a more rare species of Ebola virus for which we have no vaccine or specific treatment. There's nothing even close to ready for clinical trials.
Uganda has put more than 100 people in quarantine as health authorities there try to contain the disease.
Uganda has managed Ebola very effectively before. We're telling people to be careful. We're telling people to take precaution.
An American medical missionary is among those who have tested positive. He was transferred to Germany for treatment. Meantime, the CDC says the risk to the general public remains low. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
President Trump says he is giving Iran a few more days to agree to a peace deal. The president saying he was about an hour away from attacking the Islamic Republic before Middle Eastern allies asked him to wait. He says those allies are making progress in negotiations with Iran. All of this as Americans continue to feel the pain at the pump. Fox's Aisha Hasni has the latest.
Do you personally believe that the Iranians will come to a deal?
How could I possibly know, right? What I think is that the Iranians want to make a deal.
Tonight, the Trump administration is letting talks with Iran play out, even as the vice president says it's not always clear what the regime's negotiating position is.
Maybe the Iranians aren't themselves quite clear in what direction they want to go to. They also are just a fractured country.
It comes after the president took his finger off the trigger Monday at the behest of Gulf allies.
I was an hour away. We were all set to go. You're talking about yesterday.
Yes.
We were going to be striking it would have been happening right now.
The president giving an update during an impromptu tour of construction of the White House ballroom as Senate Republicans struggle to include funding for the project in their reconciliation bill. The president insists the ballroom is a gift and taxpayer dollars are for Secret Service security upgrades.
This is a shield that protects everything that's inside, everything that's on top.
Meanwhile, oil prices fell slightly today, but Americans are still paying over $4 on average for unleaded, and Memorial Day travel is right around the corner.
Are they going to go higher?
Hey, I don't make projections, particularly about the future, Martha, but I think President Trump summarized it well. This is a price we're all having to pay, but the cost of inaction is vastly, vastly larger than this price.
And Senate Democrats just overcame a procedural vote on the Iran War Powers resolution tonight on Capitol Hill. That vote was 50-47, with several Republican senators voting alongside Democrats. But a Senate GOP source tells Fox News that with full attendance, they believe they do have enough votes to block this when it comes up for final passage. At the White House, I'm Aisha Hasni, Fox News.
Meanwhile, Ukraine is shifting momentum in the ongoing war with Russia, now in its 5th year. New long-range missiles are hitting targets further into Russia. As the U.S. withdraws troops from Europe, other NATO allies will have to step up to fill the void. Fox's senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott has more.
Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane visits NATO headquarters in Brussels. President Trump's top military advisor making the trip to smooth over tensions after the U.S. decided to pull thousands of troops from NATO's eastern flank.
As the European pillar of the alliance gets stronger, this allows the U.S. to reduce its presence in Europe and limit itself to providing only those critical capabilities that allies cannot yet provide.
Both Democrats and Republicans said the move sent the wrong message to Russian President Vladimir Putin after another round of attacks on Ukraine, this time hitting Izmail, a large port city. But the U.S. is assuring fellow allies a reduction does not mean withdrawal from Europe.
I was in Ukraine 3 weeks ago, and I can confirm this war remains brutal, consequential, and directly relevant to our security.
To counter Russia's attack, newly developed long-range Ukrainian drones are striking deeper into Russian territory, hitting critical infrastructure and supply centers.
We are holding more positions and inflicting more damage. The impact of our long-range sanctions against Russia has been especially significant.
Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin arrived in Beijing for talks with Xi Jinping a week after President Trump's visit. China, a key trading partner for Russia, especially after its invasion of Ukraine. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Authorities provided an update today on a shooting that killed 3 people at San Diego County's largest mosque. Fox's Nate Foy reports.
The day after a deadly shooting at a San Diego mosque, police offering new details on the investigation. 3 people were killed after 2 shooters opened fire at the Islamic Center of San Diego.
All 3 of our victims did not die in vain. Without distracting the attention, without delaying the actions of these 2 individuals, without question, there would have been many more fatalities yesterday.
The attack is being investigated as a hate crime.
They didn't discriminate on who they hated. It covered a wide aspect of races and religions.
The building houses a school. Thankfully, no children were hurt. Police say a security guard at the building's entrance was one of those killed. Reportedly a father of 8, he gave his life to protect others.
He's the one who stopped them, who slowed them down. The 2 suspects would have easily access to every single classroom.
The suspects, 17 and 18 years old, were found in a vehicle nearby after taking their own lives. One suspect's mother had called police hours before, warning them that her son was missing, along with her vehicle and multiple firearms. Police attempted to track them down with a license plate reader before the first 911 call came in of shots fired. Neighbors who knew them were stunned.
He helped us bring in our groceries, and he'd wave at us. It's just unbelievable.
San Diego police have stepped up patrols at places of worship in the aftermath of the attack. Nate Foy, Fox News.
Lots of questions being asked inside and outside Washington after the Justice Department created a, quote, anti-weaponization fund to give taxpayer dollars to those who claim they were wronged by the Biden administration. Fox's Alexandria Hoff has more from the White House.
Plenty of strong reaction on Capitol Hill and beyond following the announcement of a $1.7 billion anti-weaponization fund, which will pay reparations to President Trump's allies for what they call judicial abuse by the Biden administration. More than a few Republicans are asking tough questions about using taxpayer money to compensate those who have been convicted of crimes.
What I want to know is how the fund was created and what its purpose is, and the legality of creating a fund that Congress hasn't had anything to say about.
Democrats going even further, calling it a slush fund with no oversight.
We've gotten to the point where Donald Trump is just stealing
in broad daylight from the American people.
And some experts are warning paying reparations for something that happened so recently could set a dangerous precedent.
It's our previous president. It's his predecessor in the office. And so that's what makes this, I think, particularly unusual and raising eyebrows.
But the administration is defending the move, claiming the president and his family will not receive funds.
Anybody can apply. The commissioners will set rules, I'm sure.
And it's unlikely the president will lose much political ground with his base.
I think it will be seen as kind of another instance of him sort of putting what's important to him personally, the transactional element of a lot of what he does. You know, these people got hurt, I think I'm going to give them money.
Democrats say they'll challenge the fund in court, but first a judge needs to agree that they have standing. At the White House, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, more of your national news.
4 international territories compete for the title of Global Master Chef.
My 3 daughters are watching.
Tell them I say hi. Master Chef Global Gauntlet, all new Wednesdays on Fox.
People ask me all the time, does Lowry & Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Summer's here. You can celebrate anything, like buying your first car. Yes. Cute. Finishing a big project. Or even your dog's birthday.
He's eating the cup, is that okay? It's his daily fiber.
Now, from the longest-lasting brand with the best resale value, you could get 4.99 financing on a fuel-sipping all-wheel drive Corolla Cross gas model, our most affordable SUV.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
When there's a big job to do, you send the person you know will deliver. Joe Baldacci, lowering grocery prices, protecting Medicare, defending a woman's right to choose. Those are big jobs. Joe Baldacci's always delivered for Maine. He passed laws making healthcare easier to get and helped restore mental health centers. Joe Baldacci goes to work for us in Maine. And in Congress, he will too. Project 218 is responsible for the content of this ad.
Keep your vehicle running smooth this summer with help from Frost's Garage.
It's really hot in my car all the time.
We'll get you AC service, no problem.
Really pulls to one side and shakes a lot.
Sounds like you need some front-end work, not a problem.
It really used to fly. Now it barely just chugs along.
Could just need a tune-up. We'll take a look.
No matter the issue, Frost's Garage will keep your vehicle safe all year long.
I'd say it flies now.
The United Football League is back. A game experience like no other.
Beautiful throw. Yeah!
This is the United Football League on Fox.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune says he's hopeful Republicans can muscle through their party line reconciliation bill funding immigration enforcement this week, but it won't be easy. Fox's Alex Hogan has more from Washington.
The committee will now proceed to consideration of reconciliation recommendations to the Budget Committee.
After weeks of planning and debate, lawmakers on Capitol Hill are starting the process to fund ICE and Border Patrol. The rest of Homeland Security was funded in a standalone bill after a record-breaking shutdown, but Democrats are still refusing to budge on the 2 agencies responsible for immigration enforcement until their demands for reform are met. Republicans are now going it alone in a reconciliation bill, but there's plenty of disagreement within the party about what should go in there, including $1 billion in funding for the new White House ballroom.
For those who will be voting on this bill, there is no money in this for the ballroom. The $1 billion for the Secret Service is not in the bill.
And while minority Democrats can't stop the process from moving forward, they're slowing down the markup with multiple amendments on issues like ICE raids in church, masked agents, and the role of warrants.
These are issues of principle that demand a show of conscience.
We can't let our country become a place where the president's agents violate freedoms and due process at his whim.
And with each amendment, a lengthy vote process.
Senator Johnson.
Aye.
Senator Langford.
Aye.
Senator Scott.
Aye.
Senator Hawley.
Aye.
Meanwhile, DHS officials are pleading with lawmakers to come together and end the uncertainty.
Morale has taken an absolute tank. And I hate it.
President Trump is asking Congress to have the reconciliation bill ready for him to sign by June 1st. In Washington, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
In other news, Spencer Pratt is gaining traction in the race for Los Angeles mayor as a growing roster of high-profile business leaders hop on board. Fox Business correspondent Kelly Saberi reports from Los Angeles.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass has a hold with local chambers of commerce and labor groups, but Spencer Pratt has seen some big-name donations come his way lately, and he's even outraised Bass so far this year. From January 1st to April 18th, Bass has so far taken in just under $500,000 from contributors, but that's behind Pratt's nearly $540,000 in donations that he's taken in. And Pratt's popularity is climbing in the polls with the ultra-rich. Look at some of these recent donors. Jeffrey Sprecher, the CEO of the Intercontinental Exchange, Jeannie Buss, the governor of the Lakers, Sean Rad, the founder of Tinder, the dating app, Jamie Siminoff, the founder of Ring, the security system, Lucien Grange, the CEO of Universal Music, and his son Elliot Grange, the CEO of Atlantic Records. Pratt has the support of realtor and reality star Josh Altman, who says he and his clients all want the same thing, to feel safe and make permitting easier.
It's not these major corporations that make everything move in this town. It's just not. It's the mom and pop shop. And those are the people that are getting hurt the most. And I think our biggest export now, unfortunately, is frustrated business owners.
Bass may be lacking the big-name donors, but she more than makes up for it with support from major business and labor groups, including the Service Employees Union, the LA Chamber of Commerce, and the Motion Picture Association. Nella McOsker of the Central City Association, a coalition of businesses throughout the city and downtown, says Bass is the first mayor with a multi-year decrease in homelessness and set in motion a $3 billion expansion to the city's convention center. Her group invited Pratt to meet with them, but she says he declined.
There can be a sort of a callback to a prior era of Los Angeles in which business had a real seat at the table in decision making so as to prevent harmful policy from getting enacted.
All in all, though, the concerns from both sides are the same for all business owners here in Los Angeles. Kelly Saberi, Fox Business.
What Home Depot is saying about consumer spending. We'll have a look at that with Fox Business Network's Jerry Willis in today's Fox Means Business.
Markets finished lower for your Tuesday. All three major indexes closing in the red. The Nasdaq was the worst performer of the day, finishing nearly 1% lower. And despite a first quarter beat, Home Depot executives are warning Americans are cutting back on big remodeling projects as the war with Iran fuels inflation. Shoppers are still showing up for portable power and patio items, but large discretionary jobs like kitchens, baths, and full remodels remain under pressure. Coach parent Tapestry says about 70% of its next wave of growth will come from overseas, with China and Europe pushing the lead. China already makes up roughly 15% of Tapestry's sales and has been growing double digits for 2 years, despite a broader handbag market slump. Tapestry is aiming to make Coach the first luxury bag purchase for younger Chinese shoppers. The company is also working to reignite fellow bag brand Kate Spade. Apple is rolling out a wave of new accessibility features powered by its Apple Intelligence AI system. This will include automatic subtitles for any uncaptioned video across the Apple ecosystem and detailed image descriptions for blind and low vision users. Apple Vision Pro users will be able to control compatible power wheelchairs using just their eyes, a life-changing development for people with ALS and other mobility conditions. That's business. I'm Jerry Willis.
A wildfire that broke out Monday in Southern California has intensified, forcing more than 17,000 people to evacuate neighborhoods in Simi Valley. Schools are closed as hundreds of firefighters tackle the flames from both the ground and the air. Fox's Christina Coleman has more from Los Angeles.
The dangerous wildfire in Southern California continues to burn, the fast-moving flame scorching more than 1,300 acres in Ventura County.
The fire was right here on the hill, and all of a sudden everything just went black. There was no air to breathe, and it was so intensely hot.
I walk outside and just see a plume of smoke.
The whole area right there was all in flames, smoke everywhere, and scary, but we had a lot of people praying for us.
Evacuation orders remain in place for Simi Valley, while nearby areas like Calabasas and Hidden Hills are under warnings. More than 700 firefighters are on the scene attempting to control the blaze, working through the dense smoke, which is also triggering an air quality advisory.
We are working to fight this fire from the air and from the ground. So you see video of water dropping helicopters, and we have retardant dropping aircraft that are also building and or strengthening our containment lines.
The cause of the fire is under investigation, but thanks to gusty winds and dry brush, the flames are intense and have destroyed at least one home.
We're seeing 3 factors aligned for this fire: dry fuels, steep terrain, and wind. Wind that pushes fire quickly through the landscape and into communities.
Firefighters were able to get some relief Monday night after the winds died down and humidity increased. Weather reports show the same for Tuesday night. FEMA has approved federal funds to assist California in fighting the fire in Ventura County. In Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox News.
And folks, we'll be right back with your full 5-day forecast.
All right, the record-breaking heat is here. We didn't break a record today, we tied it at 89 degrees. It was last set in 1962, but we're looking to break a record for the heat tomorrow as well as tonight. What are those records? We'll have those answers coming right up.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Are your gutters weighed down by debris causing them to sag and overflow? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. Clogged gutters lead to costly repairs for your home, so skip the cleaning and stop the clogs with Gutter Shutter. Gutter Shutter, the world's best gutter, is a high-performance gutter with a lifetime no-clog guarantee. Stop the clutter, get Gutter Shutter. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Think you know Robert Charles? Think again. While President Trump was crushing the woke left, DC insider Bob Charles was cashing in, making millions holding lucrative contracts with the woke DEI Never Trump Obama administration. Bob Charles, looking the other way, abandoning the MAGA movement, working for liberal DEI-loving Democrats, failing President Trump. Anything for a buck chuck can't be trusted. Trump traitor Robert Charles, woke, radical, wrong. Just too liberal for Maine.
At the Challenger Learning Center of Maine, our mission to inspire Maine students has never been stronger. Our newly renovated facility is open and ready to launch. We have upgraded simulator rooms, refreshed learning spaces, and new hands-on STEM experiences. Check out our exciting upcoming events for students, educators, and families. There's always something happening at Challenger. Ready for liftoff? Explore what's new and what's next at the Challenger Learning Center of Maine. Visit astronaut.org for details.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Whoever wins the most duels earns the Territory Freeze.
It's the best advantage the floor has ever had.
Bring it!
The Floor is all new Wednesdays on Fox.
Thank you very much. Tonight's weather is brought to you by Patriot General Contractors, your go-to for all your carpentry needs. Whether it's a full remodel or window replacement, they have you covered. All right, extreme heat across the Bangor region for today. We tied our record highs that were last set in 1962, being at 89 degrees for today. Now low to mid 90s, almost said 50s there. Low to mid 90s down to the southwestern portion of the state. 92 in Portland, 95 in Sanford for today. Now the front that kind of stall up north, so much cooler temperatures, but still very comfortable near 70 in Presque Isle, 79 for you in Clayton Lake. Now for tonight, keep in mind our warm record lows are is in the mid 40s. 46 degrees last set in 1968 to be exact. we are going to shatter it tonight. As you're looking at these temperatures now, low to mid 60s are expected for those lows. All right. Now into tomorrow, we're looking at another record breaker. Our record high for tomorrow is 86 degrees, last set in 2003. We're looking for upper 80s. So we're going to beat it by a few degrees, but you will be a bit cooler up north for tomorrow. The front will currently be coming through the area, but low to mid 70s, maybe some upper 70s throughout Clayton Lake and Caribou for tomorrow, with the southwest possibly seeing some 90s again. So some more extreme heat on the way, but after that, especially starting Thursday, the rest of the week is pretty close to normal, right? Our average high at 67, 63 for Thursday, 69 for Friday, almost near 70. We will see a dip in temperatures though, especially Sunday and the Monday. Some more clouds and a few showers on the way. That could bring our highs into the upper 50s for Monday afternoon. But then by Tuesday, we're back near normal in the upper 60s for those highs. So looks like if you really enjoy the heat, make sure you get out for it tomorrow because it's going to be cooling off after that, right? But otherwise, winds out there, a little light tonight. But there is a front on the way for tomorrow. Right around 1 to 2 o'clock is when it'll arrive. It's going to bring some gusty winds that could reach up to 30 miles per hour, but that's mainly north of Bangor. Bangor and along your coastline, the winds will be slightly lighter, right around 20 to 25 miles per hour, maybe gusting near 30, but otherwise winds look to die down going into tomorrow night, but stay breezy for Thursday morning and afternoon. They'll be coming from the northwest on the backside of that front, gusting near 25 miles per hour. So for tonight, a few sprinkles can't be ruled out, especially further north, but here comes that next front right around 1:30 to 2 o'clock is when we can see a few pop-up showers and even thunderstorms with all that energy we got out there. But again, nothing looks severe. If anything, this will help us cool off for a little bit tomorrow. So you may want one of these showers to fall right on top of you with all that extreme heat out there. But this is all going to be out of here by tomorrow night. We'll have high pressure settling in for Thursday. Mostly sunny skies, especially the more inland you are with those temperatures back in the 60s. So for tonight, we got low to mid 60s for those lows. The record low being 46 degrees, last set in 1968. So shattering some records out there. A few sprinkles can't be ruled out with partly cloudy skies, but another record breaker tomorrow. Looking at highs in the upper 80s. A few thunderstorms can be expected during the afternoon. Otherwise, partly cloudy with some breezy winds from the west-southwest. So here's a look at your extended forecast. 88 for tomorrow, with the previous record being 86, last set in 2003. Now low to mid 60s for Thursday after the front passes. Lots of sunshine near 70 Friday, but a bit cooler Saturday and the Sunday. Some more clouds roll in and some chances for showers Sunday afternoon.
Chase, thank you. Folks, don't go anywhere. We have sports next.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
They say Maine is one small town with really long driveways. When we faced our toughest challenge in years, I was honored you let me into your homes. You trusted me to keep us safe, and together, we stood up to Donald Trump's lies about public health. I'm Nirav Shah, and I'm running for governor to bring that same results-driven approach to deliver for all Mainers. As governor, I'll run toward our biggest challenges: fixing housing, funding healthcare, and fighting Donald Trump.
Nirav Shah, governor. We're lucky to live in Maine. We have a wealth of natural resources, hardworking people, and time for the things that matter. Mechanical Services is all about Maine, with energy efficiency that protects our environment and helps businesses grow. Preventive maintenance and energy solutions that save money. How Maine is that? Mechanical Services. We're everywhere you are in Maine.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Welcome back in, folks. We'll start tonight with some breaking news in the NBA. The Dallas Mavericks have fired their head coach. Jason Kidd has been let go after 5 seasons in Dallas. This comes after the Mavs missed the playoffs the past 2 years. Kidd exits with a perfectly even 205 record in his tenure as head coach. The search is now on for who will lead the charge and manage the Cooper Flagg era down there in Dallas. A big decision ahead. We'll go to some high school softball action now. Let's make the trip up to Howland, where the PVHS Howlers face the Bangor Christian Patriots. Howlers held a perfect 8-0 record going into this one, looking to make it 9-0. This one starts with the Patriots in the first inning. Pitcher Addison Tucker hits one, and that takes her base. The Patriots were held scoreless in the first thanks to this great double play, caught for the first out by Paxton King and then thrown to Nicole Solomon for the second. Great play there. Tucker then keeps the Howlers off the board with this strikeout to end the inning. But that wouldn't last long. In the second inning, the floodgates open when Charlotte Doobie hits one. A few Patriots mishaps allow all three runners on base to score. It's 3-0. Then the same frame, McKenna Ireland hits this one deep, and everyone comes home. An inside the park home run for Ireland. That ends a 10-run inning for the Howlers. Folks, you were not seeing double. In the very next inning, Ireland does it again. A deep hit, this time to right field, and it's another inside the park home run that ends the game in a 3-inning, 15-0 win for the PVHS Howlers. Their head coach says the dominant win was a direct result of good decision-making on offense.
We've told the kids in practice and in the games that they really need to pick good pitches to swing at. If we're swinging at stuff over our head, nothing good's going to come from that. So just really waiting for what is their perfect pitch.
Big one for PVHS. They stay undefeated. Now for some good news from the Boston Red Sox. While we've got it, they picked up a win over the Kansas City Royals on Monday night after a tough weekend in Atlanta. Pitching was again the key to success for the Sox, which has seemingly been the case when they've captured success this season. Sonny Gray had a great outing, going 6 complete innings while striking out 9 batters and giving up 0 runs on 5 hits with just 1 walk. Gray has been a positive for the Sox this season with a 5-2 record and a 2.93 ERA so far. He says he has one singular focus.
I don't know. My only goal is to win the games that I pitch, no matter what it looks like. I want to, like I said, my one goal is to win the games that you start, and you know that's all that's all I really want to do.
Sox kept it going on Tuesday night, winning 7-1 against the Royals. They'll look for the sweep on Wednesday. It is an exciting time in professional sports as both the NBA and NHL are in the conference finals round. Let's start by taking a look at the NBA in the East. New York Knicks taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. New York coming off a series sweep of the 76ers, and the Cavs just wrapped up a 7-game series with the Pistons. That game 1 was on Tuesday night. In the West, the back-to-back league MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder will look to make a run at a second straight title in their conference final matchup against the San Antonio Spurs, but will have some work to do as Wemby and the Spurs are already up 1-0 in that series. Victor Wembanyama had a crazy performance in Game 1, dropping 41 points and 24 rebounds in that Spurs win. And let's freeze over the court and take a look at what's ahead in the NHL. They, too, are in the conference final round in the Eastern Conference. The Carolina Hurricanes will take on the Montreal Canadiens. Hurricanes are yet to lose a playoff game this season and have been patiently waiting for their opponent in Montreal, who just clinched their spot with a Game 7 win over Buffalo on Monday. And in the West, the dominant Colorado Avalanche will face the Vegas Golden Knights. Colorado may be the favorite for the Cup. They took care of business versus the Minnesota Wild to get here. The Golden Knights defeated the Anaheim Ducks in 6 games, so they make their way back to the conference title round. The conference final round will begin on Wednesday with the Avs against the Golden Knights. Very intrigued by that Carolina Hurricanes series. They've been in the conference final so many times. Will they finally get over the hump and make it to the Stanley Cup final? Time will tell. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We're right back after the break.
Car accidents can be scary. It can feel like the whole world is crashing down around you. Hurt in a car accident, I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222. You build more than projects. You build what communities rely on. When the job site runs on results, put Kubota to work. Backed by expert service and support from your local Kubota dealer. Right now, bring home select Kubota KX Series with 0% financing available or save up to $7,000.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
you're getting ripped off. Criminals overbill Maine Care. They even charge for fake services, and Janet Mills let it happen. I'm Jonathan Bush. I've built systems that stopped fraud and abuse and saved customers millions. As governor, I'll audit every program and reduce that waste and fraud. Politicians and lobbyists don't have what it takes to clean up this corruption, but I do. I'm Jonathan Bush. Let's shake up Augusta.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Lights, camera, cheese! The Cheese House is looking for its next star, and it could be you. If you're 21 or older, enter for your chance to appear in the next commercial. Stop by the Cheese House at 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield to enter. While you're there, browse their huge selection of glassware and 420 specialty foods. But we have the cheese! Remember, entries are happening in person at the Cheese House, 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield. Bring your personality, bring your smile, and we have the cheese.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
25 words or less.
Wed,
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
You just won it!
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
It's the new season of Next Level Chef, and the competition is more chaotic than ever.
That's crazy.
Next Level Chef, all new Thursdays on Fox.
New data shows that buying a home might be a better purchase in the long run. The report released by real estate company Realtor found that although the price tag is higher for brand new construction compared to resale properties, new homeowners have lower utility bills and maintenance costs that can offset much of that difference over time. The data found that a buyer of an average new home can expect to save around $25,000 over the first 10 years of ownership compared to the buyer of a 20-year-old home. Analysts say the savings stem from largely from improved building materials, stronger energy standards, and that major systems such as roofs, HVAC units, and water heaters were less likely to need replacement in a newer home. A massive global mission already 3 years in the works is aiming to discover 100,000 new marine species in a matter of a decade. And scientists have already been making some astonishing finds. Now, teams are revealing some of the 1,121 species they've collected over the last year. Fox's Gary Baumgarten reports.
Deep below the waves, the world's oceans are full of life, which scientists say is critical for helping to maintain the Earth's balance.
Ocean life regulates our planet's chemistry and our planet's climate. Every species in the ocean is contributing in some way to the life system that makes all life on Earth possible.
And now there's even more life to celebrate and study, with researchers part of the Nippon Foundation Nekton Ocean Census revealing the discovery of more than 1,100 new species over the last year.
These new discoveries were found from the deep sea of Antarctica to volcanic seamounts off Japan and the shallow waters of Comores.
Launched in 2023, this project is the largest global effort to speed up documentation of marine biodiversity. This before scientists say some creatures could disappear before they're even identified because of the impacts of human-caused climate change. Some of the new species discovered this time around include corals, crabs, shrimps, sea urchins, worms, and more. And while it seems like a lot,
less than 10% of species have probably been discovered so far, leaving 90% of unknown diversity in our marine environments.
Meanwhile, it usually takes an average of 13 and a half years from when a species is first discovered to when it's formally described in a scientific journal. To help dramatically decrease this rate, ocean census teams are immediately recording species into a new digital platform called NOVA. This process helps make species data available in a matter of days or weeks. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Well, keeping with science, the Hollywood Casino will be partnering up with the Maine Discovery Museum for the inaugural Maine Science Awards. Officials from both organizations say people and institutions in our state are doing amazing work in scientific fields, and it's making an impact on Maine and the world in some cases. They say establishing an awards program to honor them is long overdue.
Science is happening every single day in Maine, and to think that we haven't recognized the people and the organizations that are facilitating that is just wild to me.
Officials say they are looking at the broad picture of science, not specific categories, and will be taking nominations starting June 1st. Complete details will be on the Maine Discovery Museum's website. The inaugural awards dinner will be held at Hollywood Casino in October. Well, an artist from Blue Hill is using pine cones, moss, and other items she finds in nature to create unforgettable animal sculptures. Our Jody Hersey found her artwork on display at the Edith Dyer Library in Hamden.
This is Otis. Otis the otter.
Holly Bertrand's woodland creatures are on display on top of the bookshelves at the Edith Dyer Library in Hamden, and it's all thanks to her hairdresser.
The librarian, Mary Beckett, and I have the same hairdresser. And so my hairdresser said, you need to meet Mary because I was just showing her some of your work, and they have the little library in the woods, and your things would be perfect there.
Bertrand, who taught art for 40 years in Bucksport, now spends her retirement days enjoying the Maine outdoors.
Through the woods, I would notice that a lot of mosses and lichens would fall out of the trees, especially after big windstorms and rainstorms. So I started collecting it and kind of experimenting with it to see how strong and resilient it is.
She uses paper mache as a base and then attaches moss, lichen, pine cones, or other items she finds on her walks to create her sculptures. Bertrand says it can take up to 30 hours to complete a piece of artwork depending on the amount of detail she uses.
If I'm using a lot of pine cones with my work, I literally deconstruct the pine cone and take each petal off and trim it to size.
There are currently 18 sculptures in her menagerie, and there may be room for even more.
I may do a koala bear with a baby on its back neck, so I'm kind of branching out.
In Hamden, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And then a friend of mine is a
Well, that is going to do it for us, folks. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, take care and have a great rest of your night. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC 7, right now for ABC 7 News at 11.
How many times has something broke down, but the right size tool is nowhere to be found? What you need is Red Dog, the amazing universal socket tool that fits, grips, and tightens virtually any fastener. And now may be your last chance to get one before they're gone. Look at all the different sizes and shapes. Nut.
Wanda Sykes and Jake Johnson with music from Dan and Shay on a new Jimmy Kimmel Live tonight on ABC.
Decker Investigations.
I have a job for you.
Next Tuesday, ABC is serving an entire night of R.J. Decker.
Como se dice possible homicide?
With 3 back-to-back episodes, it's a triple decker of America's hottest PI.
That's straight gold, son.
Jump into one of the best new shows this year.
Repeat after me, okay? Everything is gonna be...
Try not to die tonight.
I will do my best.
A triple R.J. Decker, next Tuesday on ABC, and stream all episodes.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
Today, officials from multiple state agencies